Hey, composition guys, this is Professor Porter. I'm going to try to keep this brief because I know that you've got a lot of other things you have to do, but I did want to give you a brief update on the car situation. It was eventually picked up. I ended up waiting about 6 hours before I actually had someone show up, and the car did get taken to the repair facility like I wanted it to, but as it turned out, I got home eventually close to 4 o'clock. So, I mean, it was a good thing that anyway that I decided to preemptively cancel class for yesterday. But we've had 2 days where we, weren't in class, and I wanted to briefly hit some of the things I had planned to discuss last Friday the 16th. I'm sorry, last Wednesday the 16th, and this past Monday, just yesterday, the 21st. So on Friday of last week, I had planned to do a lesson on telling you more about the Toulmin model of argument, as well as showing you how to incorporate your own writing, or rather someone else's writing into yours, and when to properly summarize, paraphrase, and quote information. So I'm right here on our class page, and I've clicked on the modules section, and there are a couple of things that I have unlocked for you to have access to that I wanted to show you right at this moment. And you have to go to module 6 for week 6. You'll notice right here there is a video that I've got linked here for it's actually a short YouTube video about the Toulmin model and how it works. So please go back and check that. Remember, that's one of the ways that you can choose to do your rhetorical analysis is by using the Toulmin model, looking at claims that are made and evidence that is used, and if there's a logical connection between the two, which is the warrant of that argument. So there is that. Please check that out. I also had written down that I was going to show you guys on the 14th some rhetorical analysis examples, and they are right here under week 6. You'll click here. I've got 2 of them here, rhetorical analysis samples 1 and 2. So please check those out. I realize that this particular paper is supposed to be written in APA format, and we haven't had a great deal of discussion on the different things that relate with that. We will have time to be able to work on it, so do not despair. What you should be doing is finding whatever topic you plan to write about, and then 2 opposing articles that of two people that disagree or have opposite views on that controversial religious or social issue. But here are 2 examples that you can check out. Also, you don't have to worry about this logical fallacies thing. You can't see it. Week 7, this was supposed to be yesterday. I've got something here. It says design an advertisement. But also, let me see if I can find this. Okay, this is going back to week 5. You'll find this here, summarizing, quoting, and paraphrasing example. I wanted to open this briefly and show you what it looks like, and you can read through it again at your own. What I've tried to do is explain, okay, let me show you what it is to summarize, quote, and paraphrase. And I've used this. I had another one set up for this class this semester, but I decided to use this one in any case. This is one I've used in the past. Let's assume that I was wanting to quote this passage from A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, okay? And let's say the point I'm trying to make is this one. In A Tale of Two Cities, Dickens criticizes the cruelty of the upper class and the misery of the lower class. So if I wanted to use this particular sentence as this quote as a thing that I want to cite in my paper. Now these examples, by the way, are in MLA format. But changing them to APA is not that difficult. I'll actually tell you how to do that. So summarizing, that's when you when you have a lot of information that you want to make it in a smaller form. And a lot of your, a lot of the things that you cite that are lengthy should be turned into summary so they don't take up a lot of space. So this says, according to Dickens, the royalty of England and France felt they could maintain the status quo forever. Now, APA would tell you that you need to put down the author's name and a comma or the year in which it was published, and then the page number. And I'll show you guys how this, in person I plan to do that. But here in MLA, they simply require you, if you've listed the author's name in the sentence, to just put the page number here at the in the parentheses at the end of the summary. You have to do that whether you summarize, paraphrase, or quote. You have to give credit where you got the information from. Okay, now one of the things I've done here, which I'm going to talk about, is I've introduced the information, I presented it, and then I've explained how it's relevant to what I'm trying to say. Now here's a quote. Here's how a direct quote would be. You see this according to Dickens, and then here's the information or the actual quote, and then this purple section or pink section, whatever you want to call it, is what follows. These 3 steps are what you're supposed to do every time you quote information from anything. In fact, I'm going to expand this. So you have to introduce the information, present the information, that's the blue part, and then elaborate or explain its relevance to what you're trying to say. So according to Dickens, that's the introduction, and then the big long quote. And then after that, this shows the contempt the kings and queens had for the world outside their own. To them, they would always have enough to eat. That's my explanation as to how this quote makes sense, or why I'm even bringing it up. Paraphrasing is when you take the quoted information and you turn it into your own words, but it's supposed to be of similar length to the original, and the sentence structure needs to be slightly different. Even though it's your words, you still have to give, right here, you have to give credit where the information came from. It came from Dickens, and it was located on this page. Now, to be honest, your professors prefer that you paraphrase most of the time. The only time that you should really quote anything verbatim is when the information cannot be said any better, or if you were to change it, it would make it lose its power in what you're trying to present it as you're trying to present it to the reader. So quoting should be done only when it's said best the way it originally was, and if you were to alter it at all, it would lessen its impact. Whereas professors prefer you paraphrase, actually, because it shows that, because you can put it into your own words, that shows that you understand what you're talking about. And they actually prefer you do this. Now, this takes a lot of time, though, to do things in paraphrase form, but I'm telling you, you'll impress your professors in whatever papers you have to write about if you paraphrase much more than you quote, because it demonstrates you understand what you're talking about. So these examples are on our in Canvas. So I'm just going to go back here to go back one step, and it should take us right back to the modules section. So that is in week 5, that example right there. So that's generally what I had planned to talk about in brief last Friday, or I'm sorry, I keep saying Friday, I'm sorry, last Wednesday, the 16th. Yesterday I was going to talk about advertising and how advertising is itself a type of argument that the owner of the product or the service is trying to make to the customer, that they need this product, they want it, they desire it, they should have it. And what I had planned was to show you several advertisements and then have you pick them apart. And I still may do that the next time we're together. I still may have you do that. But it was to lead into one of our first projects that I have you do. Now, these projects are designed to be done as a group or with a partner. Presumably, you would do it with the person that you have been doing, who's been reading your paper, and vice versa. You guys would share the responsibility of that project. If you would rather do it by yourself, you're welcome to. But the assumption is you can either work with that other person, that partner of yours, or if you want to team up with another group as well. I would say no more than 4 people should work together on these things, or else things start getting, people start taking advantage of others in the group and not doing their work and just expecting or assuming the other people are going to pick up the slack. But if you click on this document here that says design an advertisement, this is what you're going to have to do. And it basically says you're going to have to create an ad of some kind. It says your group must design an advertisement for a product or a service that would appeal to a Christian audience. It doesn't mean it has to be something that only Christians would be interested in, but it can't be something that would be objectionable for them to be interested in. So there are certain things that you would not market to Christians, to believers, versus non-believers. So the thinking is try to keep your mind set on something that would be welcomed by the Christian community. Okay, and you have to decide what you want to do, whether you're going to provide a new product for people, or a service. What the form of your advertisement is going to be. Is it going to be like a web page of some kind? Is it going to be a video? Apologize for the bell ringing. Is it going to be something that's in print form, like a picture, a flyer, that you would see posted up on a sign or on a board, or a bulletin board or something like that? You need to decide upon what colors you plan to use if you're doing something, well, even any of it, and then what words you're going to use on the advertisement. I have a day set aside where I'm actually going to talk about, what choices of color mean, what certain texts mean different things in advertising, and what dialogue you're going to have if you do a video, what font you decide to use, the size you use, all that stuff. And you also have to decide who in your group, if you're working with a group, who's going to do all these things, divvy out the different responsibilities. Now, let me continue to read. It says, not only must you design the ad, but you must also write an explanation that gives the reasons for why you chose this particular product and why you chose to present it in the way that you did. It says you must also explain why the service would be marketable and must share what values you are trying to reinforce in your audience. In short, you need to analyze your own ad as well. So there are two parts to this. You are creating an advertisement either in either something that would appear online as a website or a web page. You could create a video that would be, either presumably on TV or maybe something you would post on the internet for people to look at, or a picture or a flyer of some kind that would be posted that people would see. So you have to do it in one of those three ways. And then you have to pick it apart and explain why it was you chose this product, why you used the colors that you did on the ad, why you used the dialogue that you did, what you were trying to accomplish with it. Now I've got the parameters down here as well. If you choose to do a video, it has to be at least 30 seconds long, but it can't be longer than a minute. You cannot just cut and paste pictures from already established products. So you couldn't cut and paste a Lay's emblem for potato chips or something like that. Your finished product needs to appear professional. This is not a PowerPoint presentation, so don't submit a PowerPoint. That's not what I'm asking for. As far as the explanation of your video, that's something, or whatever you choose to do, your advertisement, that's something that you can either hand to me physically in paper, or I can put a spot on Canvas where you could upload your advertisement information there. You have to you may incorporate other people to be actors or actresses if you're doing a video of some sort, or posing for a picture or whatever it happens to be. And your ad must be ready to present to class on. And then you're like, I don't know, what's the day? Well, I will show you. I actually have it written on the syllabus already. So I'll click over here on syllabus, and here is this week, advertising project, time to work on rhetorical analysis and ad project. That's this part here. Remember, whenever you see time to work on, that usually means you don't have to actually come to class. I will be there. However, I will be there this Wednesday. If you want to come to class and be able to work on any of those things, maybe you can, since we didn't meet, you're like, well, maybe it'd be a good time for me to get with my partner and meet in class to go over the specifics of what we decide to do. That's fine too. I will be there for that. So you're welcome to come to Tyler 102 and hang out there. You can meet wherever you want. Obviously, you don't have to wait until Wednesday to meet and converse and collaborate. But then on the 28th, it says discuss assigned reading, writing fellowship workshop. That's coming up. Your rhetorical analysis here, it says the rough draft is due on the 26th by 11:59. Now the 26th is this coming Saturday, right? The reason I've got that date as the due date is because that gives everybody who's going to be looking at your draft, it gives them a day to be able to look at your piece, and then that way when they come in on Monday, they can give you some informed feedback on it. But I also plan to spend time on this particular day, the 28th, going over the ad project a lot more in depth. So, and also talking more about how APA format is done. So if you're turning in a rough draft and you're approximating what you think APA is, that's fine. There are actually some really good sources. I tell people to check out everything on Purdue's website, their online writing lab. But also you can always go to the library, and the library has its own, it has under research, it has its own citation help right here. And here are the different styles. APA is right here, and you can see there's a Purdue OWL website that you can go to for information. Also, Cedarville has its own quick guide that you can click on, and actually this might be a little bit faster, but it tells you, okay, how do you do headings, what's the handout for guides, sample paper, what it looks like, and you can open these things and check them out, and they show you, okay, here's generally what it's going to look like. The headings are slightly, or they usually have a title page of some sort that's going to be a little bit different. There is usually a title on the front of the second page. The page number actually begins with page 2 here. It starts with page 1 on the title page. And actually, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. See, here's an example of what I was talking about. Parenthetical citation. So somebody has listed something, and then in parentheses after they've cited it, they put down the name of the author and then the year in which it was published there. And here's another example, White 2000, Lessig 2005. It's just another example of how that is done. But I plan to discuss that more. So you're welcome to look at these resources. Here's one where it gives you the author, the year in which it was published, and then the page number on which that information was found. So those are the things that APA requires you to do when you are citing something. So look at these, do your best. I'm not expecting perfection because we've had 2 classes that we didn't meet when I had planned to discuss this stuff. So try your best. I will make sure that I give lessons in between now and when the final draft is due, so that you can go back and make any changes that you need to make so that it's following APA format. In the meantime, you are, like I said, welcome to go to the library site, click on citation help, and you've got access to several things that can teach you about APA on your own. So at least the basics. So that, I believe that's all I wanted to say about that. Well, let me look on my list of things to discuss. I think that's it, actually. I'm not going to take the time to discuss the assigned reading, but please make sure you take care of that. And the actual day of presenting for the ad project is going to be the 2nd of March. So that's Wednesday of next week. So I really recommend that you do show up to this time here where it says to work on the rhetorical analysis. And if you don't show up to the classroom, definitely make sure you meet, because you know, a week from that Wednesday is when you actually have to have your project done. And the sooner things are taken care of, the better. So, and you want to make sure that your product is something that looks great, you know, is easy to do and fun to do as well. So that's, I think, all I have to talk about right now. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I didn't intend for the video to be this long. But if you have any initial questions, you can either email me between now and Wednesday. Today's Tuesday, the 22nd, or you can drop by on the 23rd on this work day. Work on whatever you need to, whether it's the rhetorical analysis essay you wanted to spend time on or the ad project. Please take the time to do that. And that's all I've got for you. Appreciate you sticking with me here, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday.